I can get over there, but I, can't.
To give a little bit of context, I'm at the public library using my headphones to read along with a book, as I have a bit of a focusing problem. When I normally try to read a book, I always find an audiobook to help me focus on what I'm reading. For that to be possible, I have to use noise-canceling headphones. This ensures that I bug no one with the audio from my headphones. I also sit in a reading booth far away from anyone. A nice lady taps on my shoulder softly. She says, "Sir?" I reply with, "Yes," pulling my headphones off so I can at least hear the nice lady. She then asks, "Are you reading Half a King?" At this point, I'm a little worried as I have no idea how long she's been trying to get my attention. I told her that I'm reading that and she asked if she could join me because she thinks we're on the same page. Clearly, the nice lady was trying to find someone to read with, so I inform her of my audiobook, and she happily reads along with me, hearing what she can through my headphones. A good 20 to 30 minutes pass before I feel more tapping on my shoulder. It's the entitled parent of the story. She says, "Hello, sir?" Once more taking off my headphones and stopping the audiobook to hear whoever's tapping on my shoulder. She says, "Yes, hi. My son wanted to know if you're done with the library's headphones." I'm a little confused, as the only headphones I could see nearby were at the computer lab. I said, "Sorry, ma'am, but these aren't from the library. These are my own headphones." She replies, "Oh, and I'm sure you wouldn't mind if my son used your headphones now, would you?" I was slightly taken aback by this. I said, "Sadly, ma'am, I do mind. I have a hard time focusing on my book." She then said, "And I don't really give a damn about your focusing problem. Now let my son use your headphones." At this point, she lowered her tone and was leaning over me, as best she could. The nice lady then said, "Excuse me, what seems to be the problem?" The entitled parent replies, "This brat won't give his headphones to my son to use." The nice lady said, "Well, if I remember right, these are your headphones, yes?" She was pointing to the headphones around my neck. I said, "Yeah, I brought them for reading mostly. I wasn't really taking note of what the nice lady's trying to do." She then adds, "And you've said no to her using your headphones, right?" I replied with, "Yeah, one no should be enough, right?" The nice lady then responds with, "Mm-hmm." The entitled parent is pissed at this point, but by now there are a lot of eyes on us, and one of the librarians is walking over to see what's wrong. The entitled parent said, "This brat won't give your headphones to my son." The librarian, being a little shocked with the lady's tone of voice, explained that the headphones that I was wearing was nothing like the ones they owned on site. Then asking about them, I explained why I have headphones on. The nice lady is helping out as well. The librarian at this point just asked the entitled parent and the son to leave for making a scene and being overly loud in the library. The parent grips her son's arm and drags him along. This story's called, "Ma'am, being short isn't a disability." Here's some background. This took place about a year ago during a sparring tournament. If you're unfamiliar with sparring, it's like boxing, but you tap. A first good hit gets you a point. It goes to 3 points and then you win. I compete in the tournament every year. When I arrived, I walked over to the 9 to 12-year-old sparring area and checked what time I have to fight. It turns out that I'm on first against a kid about my size. I win 3-1 and give the kid a high five and wait for the next match. The kid that I'm up against next is sparring, so I watch and I notice he's kind of short. He's about 4'5" compared to my... My 5'3". He's about 9 or 10 years old. He wins with a close 3-2. When the time comes for my next fight, I'm up against that short kid. We spar, but my height gives me a big advantage, so I let him have a point, and then I proceed to win the next 3 points. The round is over, and he asks if I want to go to the snack table with him, and I gladly accept. We go over and talk Undertale. When we get back is when it really starts to go to shit. We were walking back telling jokes, and then I see his mom screaming at the referee. She said, "My son is disabled, and you just let that other boy win? Are you afraid of disabled people or something?" The ref said, "Your son is not disabled, as it was not on the form you needed to fill out to compete. His doctor would have said so on the form." The conversation is clearly going nowhere, so I walk towards her to see what's happening. The mom spins aggressively towards me. She then says, "You, winning wasn't enough, huh? You had to humiliate him too?" I have no idea what's going on at this point. I said, "Ma'am, I have no idea what you're talking about." She then said, "What do you mean? You know he's disabled." Okay, at this point, I'm not having this shit. I said, "Oh, really?" I turn to the kid and ask, "Are you really disabled?" He says, "No, my mom thinks that because of my height. She's been giving me this crap for years. I just learned to live with it." The mom replies with, "He is totally disabled. Look at him." I told her that being short is not a disability. The mom then clearly starts lying to salvage her pride. She says, "Shut the fuck up. My husband is a doctor and he says the boy's disabled." The referee says, "Ma'am, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. Your son may stay if he wishes." The mom stormed out of the building and the boy said he wanted to stay. We finished the tournament. I got 3rd out of 20 and we decided to get some ice cream down the street. It turned out that the mom had a divorce 5 years ago and they haven't spoken since. Me and the boy exchanged numbers and went our separate ways. Hey guys, thanks for tuning into this episode of Reddit entitled Parents. If you guys like the video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Fucking hell, man.
Hey guys, welcome to an episode of the subreddit called I Don't Work Here Lady. In this video, you're gonna find stories of people being mistaken as employees. I hope you find these stories entertaining and stay for all of them. And as always, please subscribe. This story is called The Lady Lost Her Mind When I Wouldn't Clean Her Mat. Here's some quick background story. I live close enough to my mother that we do this CrossFit class together every Saturday. It's really fun and we bond. The class is an hour long, and at the beginning we grab mats and weights. We tend to grab a few different types depending on the workout that the guy assigns. You have to be early to this class because it's really popular, and me and my mom grab spots in the back. The class fills up, and all the regulars take their spots. There isn't much room, but there's space at the front. For the first half hour, everything's going really well, and then this lady comes in. She walks into the center of the room and stares at us, and then goes and grabs a mat. I head over to the station on the TRX and begin my set. If you don't know what a TRX is, it's basically a rope that you attach to the wall and do different exercises with. When I come back, I see this lady.
Get him, Bobby. Get him. Yeah, Bobby. Get him. Get him. Woo. Woo.
He has pushed my mat into the weights and has made herself a spot. My mom is livid, but I wave her off. Don't get me wrong, I'm annoyed, but shit happens and I continue the class. 5 minutes later, our instructor gives us the next set of workouts. I finish my workout on the mat and see that there's a free TRX. As soon as I'm pushing through a set, someone taps on my shoulder. It's this lady. She said to me, "You finished 10. I counted. Stop hogging." First of all, I did not finish. Secondly, our instructor has told us to go through the sets twice in a round, so I was planning on going through twice. Thirdly, there was a free one right next to me. I point out that there was a free one and she rolls her eyes at me and says something snarky about how I wasn't being mindful of customers. She then demands that I show her how we do the workout. I kinda show her my form and then Mike the trainer comes by. She smugly looks at me and is like, "Good, someone is doing their job around here." I just shrug it off and try to finish my set in peace. I go back to my workout and don't come in contact with her until the end of class. At the end, our instructor hands out wipes for us to clean the mats before we return them. My mom was returning the weights while I was wiping our mats. As I'm wiping my mom's mat down, a mat is thrown at me and lands into my hands. I look up and it's this woman again. She is kinda smugly looking down at me, throws down her wipe and begins to walk away. I get up with her mat and hand it back to her. I said, "Excuse me, that's not where you leave them." She replies with, "What? You're cleaning them. You need to clean mine." I told her that I was just cleaning mine and my mom's. She then asked, "What makes her so special?" I replied with, "Because she's my mom." She then said that it doesn't matter. It's your job to clean these. I was kind of floored at the idea that she thought I worked there, only because I'm working on losing weight. I'm not obese, but I certainly don't have the trainer's body. I told her that I don't work here, and she told me to stop being bratty and that it's clear that I worked in this place. She told me that she can clearly tell that I work here because of my uniform and that I was helping that woman out the whole time. She was referring to my mom. For the record, the uniform was black leggings and a black tank, and I wasn't wearing one. I told her that picking up mine and my mom's mat does not mean that I work there, and I told her to leave me alone. She then began screaming the instructor's name, and he comes up with my mom right behind him. She has seen some of the stuff and was pretty much over this lady's shit. Mike, who's the trainer on the other hand, has no idea. He can tell from my face that I'm annoyed. He asked me what's going on. She then told him that he needs to fire me because I'm refusing to clean her mat, and I spent the whole lesson ignoring her. Mike, who at this point understands my annoyance, says, "She doesn't work here, but I can clean your mat." I should also tell you that we don't clean mats in the future. At this point, the lady huffs out and marches down the stairs. I think that's the end of it until my mother and I go down and see this woman screaming at the front desk. She sees me and then points me out. "Have that brat fired." The front desk guy's a pretty innocent kid. He's probably in high school. He said, "She doesn't work here, ma'am." And at this point, her face is as red as it gets. She screams and then walks out. My mom made us wait inside until she left the parking lot. It was probably for the best. This story is called, "Not only do I not work here, but no one does, and this is my apartment." So basically, I live in a small apartment above a bar that has a really good kitchen. Over time, I've become friends with the owners, who are really great people. This past weekend, there was a lot of noise coming from the bar at about midnight, so I came to complain. They said they couldn't do much about the noise. There was a crowd watching the game. But if I came back at some point this week, they'd give me a free dinner as an apology. That brings us to yesterday. I had gotten off work late, and I didn't feel like cooking, so I decided to cash in on that aforementioned free dinner. As I'm eating, things started to get really loud and busy again, so I asked for my meal to be put into a to-go container. The owner said that I could take the plate upstairs as long as I return it later that night or the next day. As I'm leaving, still shoveling fries into my mouth, I noticed a woman trying to flag me down from her table. I assumed that she was looking at a server behind me, so I took no notice and I walked outside carrying my dinner. I put down the plate to open my door, and while I'm rooting through my pocket, I feel a sharp tap on my shoulder. The lady said, "Don't just ignore me like that. I ordered almost 40 minutes ago and I haven't gotten my food. This is unacceptable." I replied with, "Okay, not really sure what she wants." The lady then said, "What do you mean okay? What are you gonna do about it? I want my meal discounted for this." I finally realized what's happened. I told her, "Oh, I don't work here. You'll need to speak to someone who does and see what they can do about that." And then I started opening my door. As I was opening the door, she screamed at me, "Don't lie to me. I know you guys are just hiding up there instead of working. I want to speak to the owner." I replied with, "Lady, this is my apartment. Please leave me alone while I bend over and pick up my meal." The lady pushes past me and charges up the stairs, screaming as she goes. She screams, "You guys better get back to work. There are people waiting to be served down here." At this point, she reached the top of the stairs and is now looking around my room, realizing the only person she was going to was my fish, who I'm sure wasn't in the mood to serve her anything after that. I said, "See? Get the fuck out of my apartment." I was angry, tired, and fantasizing about the burger on the plate in my hand. She said that it doesn't change the fact that she's been waiting ages for her food, and it's still unacceptable. Clearly, she's looking at my plate. She told me, "Clearly you know the owner, so I think you should still talk to them for me." I told her to get out of my place. I'm not a patient.